At this moment, we, the class of 1991, would like to give thanks for our 4 years here at St. Edward High School. We thank you for the good and the bad times, for these are the times that made us men, that made us who we are. Lord, we ask your blessing upon the class of 1991, that in our journey through life, we continue to grow in your love and grace. Amen. Thank you, George. Please be seated. High school. Last Sunday, the seniors, accompanied by their parents and families, celebrated their baccalaureate mass at St. Luke Church in Lakewood. The seniors chose as their theme, "Let your light shine so that others may follow." Senior Harvey Tolley did the artwork for the cover of the liturgy booklet, and faculty member Mrs. Ruth Stopper created a large banner carrying out this theme. This theme is very appropriate for the class of 1991. Way back in September of 1987, about 220 young boys entered St. Edward from many different grade schools, from many places, to begin their journey through high school. This was a collection of individuals, naive in many ways, but nonetheless open to new ideas and eager for challenges. These challenges serve to create a sense of purpose and cohesiveness in the group, and enable the whole class to mature as the young men they are today, sitting in this auditorium. Yes, and they have let their light shine so that others may follow. Yes, the class of 1991 is a very special class. Special to you, the parents, families, friends, and special to us, the faculty, who have worked with them over these years. Now, at the end of 4 years, the journey has come to an end. And yet the journey continues. The journey begins again. The class of 1991 is a very talented class. More than $750,000 in scholarships offers have been made. Two of our most talented senior scholars will speak to you at this time. I present to you first the class salutatorian, Anthony Petrano.
Good afternoon, graduates, teachers, parents, relatives, and most of all, friends. We are here today to celebrate and finalize the efforts of the previous 4 years, which have been perhaps the most formative ones of our entire lives. Upon entering St. Ed's as freshmen, we encountered many problems and dilemmas. With the help of our parents, guidance of our teachers, and through our own efforts, moving through each year, many of these problems have been resolved. During high school, we learned, grew, and most of all, matured through our experiences. Now as we enter the real world, we are going to have to apply and expand upon that experience in all of our future endeavors. For some it is college, and some it is work. But no matter where you go and what you do, you will show that St. Edward has helped create truly unique men. When asked to give this speech, I was struck by the fact that I must represent the entire senior class. Knowing every student by name, this should not be a difficult task, but with further reflection, I realized that I really knew only about a dozen students very well, my closest friends. But that is what our class is comprised of. Many different groups of close friends merged together into the extended family of the class of 1991. Now we must go on to face our challenges alone, but remember, the family at St. Edward will always be with you. Today is a day of mixed emotions. We feel sadness in moving on and by the loss of some close friendships. But we can always relish those memories, look forward to developing new friendships, and experience more of the world in our future. Even though much was introduced to us at St. Edward, there is still very much more to learn. In practice, graduation is an ending of a special time in life, but in reality, it is a beginning in that we have built a foundation to hopefully lead a much more rewarding adult life, a beginning to the rest of your life.
original, something inspiring, something filled with wisdom. To be truly honest, the only wise thing I can offer is the mere truth. 4 years ago, a bunch of wide-eyed, ingenuous boys entered the crowded halls of St. Edward. Graduation seemed insignificantly distant compared to the more pertinent dilemma of the unusually large seniors they were forced to dodge on their escapades down the corridors. But now, 4 years later, after many times spent together, both good and bad, after numerous lessons learned and dues paid, those naive boys transformed into us, the class of 1991. I've often asked myself, in the wake of the hype of the past couple of weeks, what now? Does something magical happen upon graduation, which leads to the answers of the questions of life? Because to be truly honest, I'm just as scared, excited, hopeful, and a bit awed as all of you as to what's waiting on the other side of the magical door of graduation. I'm sure all of you have heard from your parents, as I have from mine. Mister, you think it's hard now. Well, just wait till you get in the real world. Yet they never really said what the real world entailed or what it expected from me. I'm not going to presume I possess the answer to this question, for all our futures are unique. But I can offer this one bit of advice that just might help. My words of wisdom are simple. Make a difference. This maxim is vague and general and can be applied to most anything. But that's the point. If we choose to help a friend with his homework, if we choose to comfort the sick or poor, if we choose to make a difference in our lives and the lives of others, I think the real world our parents warned us about will be quite satisfied with our efforts. After spending over 4 years with you guys, although some more than others, there's one thing that I and all of us can be sure of. This is the fact that every 170 of us has what it takes to succeed in this world. I'm referring not only to monetary gains, but the unequaled success found only in bringing happiness to yourself and others. Personally, I honestly feel I would not be where I'm standing right now if it wasn't for the guidance, knowledge, and friendships given to me at St. Ed's. For this, I am very thankful. I wish all of you only the best for the future, and I will always count myself fortunate to be part of something as special as the St. Edward graduating class of 1991. Thank you.
Next, to offer congratulations to the class, I present to you the principal of St. Edward High School, Brother James Spooner.
Good afternoon, graduates, parents, faculty, relatives, and friends of our graduates. I'd like to center my comments today on some of the events that have happened this year and the past 4 years. Yes, you're the 39th class to graduate from St. Edward High School. November 1st, we had a liturgy. Bishop Quinn was our celebrant. And Bishop Quinn said something to you that I would like to echo today. I love you. That statement is very powerful. You need us, but we need you even more to be the leaders, to be the doers of tomorrow. A lot of local, national, international events have happened during your 4 years at St. Edward High School and have made the world a different world. Consider these. Do you remember receiving word that you were accepted at St. Edward High School? There's a building in downtown Cleveland that's taller than the Terminal Tower. The Berlin Wall, which was put up when many of us adults were about your age, has come down. East and West Germany, divided at the end of World War II, is reuniting. The Union of Socialist Republics is being divided. Communism is breaking up. The Cold War is over. Apartheid, a relatively new term to us, is breaking down. Operation Desert Shield became Operation Desert Storm. In 100 hours, a war was fought. Events related to these are not over. Tiananmen Square became a site of incredible bloodshed and bravery. Young people fought for freedom in China and are still fighting for that freedom today. Emperor Hirohito died after ruling for 63 years, more years than most of us in this room have been alive, and is replaced by the 125th successor of the first emperor. AIDS was another word added to our vocabulary in relatively recent years, and 100,000 people have died from that disease. Looking at your future, I am sure you remember the day that you received the acceptance to the college, the university, the program that you are going to go on to in your future. There are initiatives for peace between the Arabs and the Israelis. There is a project for downtown called Gateway that I am told by a gentleman who knows the project and knows it well will be completed despite its problems. Doctors are finding out more about AIDS, and there will be, if not a cure for it, at least some way to put it into remission. Easter break, I was in Boston and walked into a bookstore and found a book titled 14,000 Things to Be Happy About. It was a relatively small book in size. It was just sort of a stream of ideas, things to be happy about. I didn't buy it, but I browsed it a little bit to see what was in there. None of those great things I mentioned here in this talk were in that book that I could find. The St. Edward High School graduation was not in that book. But I can conclude with these comments that there will be some of those things in there that could be added to those 14,000 things to be happy about. Today is one of them. I congratulate you for completing the education St. Edward High School has offered you. Dr. E. Gordon Gee, president of The Ohio State University, recently said, "We cannot be all things to all people. We must be the best at what it is that we do." And that's your challenge. Be the best, despite the fact you can't be all things to everyone. While doing that, make the difference. Build tomorrow. Work towards the mutuality that needs to be there between men and women. A mutuality between races. A mutuality between generations. Use your religious background to be an ethical, moral person. To be a person of whom it is said, you have integrity. Learn to initiate as well as respond. Be resourceful. Be a person of vision. Learn to be proactive, willing and able to learn. Many events have shaped you in your world. Your family, your city, your nation. St. Edward High School has been a part of that. Make the world a better place because you are part of it. And don't be afraid to say, "I love you." I'm sure many of you have heard that from your parents in recent days. I hope you said it back. And that you'll say it to others. At this time, I'd like to call on Mr. Edward Mack, Brother Dennis Bednarz, Mr. Paul Flement, and Mr. James Wallenhorst to assist me in the conferring of the diplomas.
Thank you, brother. The diploma says, St. Edward High School certifies that this student has completed the course of study prescribed by the authorities of St. Edward High School, a high school of the first class, and by intellectual attainments and correct deportment is hereby declared a graduate of St. Edward High School. Before we begin, two announcements. Because parents play such an important part in the educational process of their sons, it is the custom at St. Edward graduations for parents to accompany their sons to the stage while receiving diplomas. And secondly, to preserve the dignity of today's ceremony, we ask that you not applaud when individual names are called. After each set of 25 or so names are called, I will give you the chance to applaud. We begin. Kevin Patton. And George Peda. Michael Pfeffer. Lawrence Vaccari. Concepcion Perez. Anthony Petramica. Donald Pischel. The awarding of diplomas brings 39th annual commencement exercises to a close. To the class of 1991, we are very proud of you and we congratulate you. Immediately following this ceremony, all graduates will proceed to the front left of this auditorium into the cafeteria. Here they will deposit their gowns, keeping the cap and tassel, and also pick up your yearbook on the way out, and then proceed directly to the front parking lot. The graduates will not return to the auditorium, so parents and friends can meet them in the parking lot. At this time, I ask everyone to stand and join us in the singing of the St. Edward Alma Mater.